Today, Thursday, May the 27th, is the second and final day of the public hearings called by the Senate Committee on proposed amendments to the much criticized 1999 Constitution of Nigeria. How can this process be conducted to afford as many Nigerians as possible the opportunity of making an input? Has the exercise come at the right time? And is this exercise destined to go the same way as past similar experiences? Questions, and more questions. But joining us now from our Arise Abuja studio for answers is Hon Solomon Bob, member representing Abuja and Ahoda East Federal Constituency in Rivers State. Hon Bob is a member of the House Committee on Electoral Matters, as well as member Joint House and Senate Technical Committee on Electoral Bills. He will also talk about the clamor for deep reform of the electoral process ahead of the 2023 elections. Honorable Bob Solomon, welcome to the program. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Good morning. Well, very quickly, before you joined us, I expressed a view that I'm surprised that although there's this talk about a joint National Assembly Committee on review of the Constitution, we have the Senate holding its own public hearings, May 26, May 27. And then you have the House of Representatives talking about a parallel exercise that will be held June 1, June 2nd. Now, why do we have to repeat the exercise, considering the fact that the issues are more or less the same? Why was it not possible for the National Assembly to organize the event together, even if it is to consider cost, logistics, and harmonizing the views of Nigeria? If you'd like to help us, shed some light on that, it will be very helpful indeed.
Thank you. I cannot agree with you more on that. I actually have the same thinking that we could just have, roll it in one dice. That is, both House and Senate committees on constitutional review collapsing their activities into one and going to have these hearings, at once. There is no point in having two separate hearings conducted, each by the Senate and the other one by the House of Reps. Yeah, so I can't agree with you more on that.
Right. So, but why was that done? And it just goes to show the sort of faulty foundation that we've built our governance on. I'd like your thoughts on the 250 memos that have been received by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ovi Onwagege. Out of those 250 memos, talking about a range of different things, electoral reform, which you are clearly very versed at, gender equality, state policing, what for you is the greatest priority in Nigeria today?
Well, we have multiple structural problems. It's difficult for me to give any sort of weight to this exercise. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but I think that the problems we have are far more fundamental than we expect to get any sort of momentum from exercise like this. My take is, we have serious challenges concerning security. We have serious challenges concerning what is generally called power devolution. I like to call it power distribution because devolution, evokes an impression of, a center properly entitled to exercise its powers, now, shedding itself of those powers in a paternalistic way. The powers exercised by the center at the moment are not rightly exercised. They are not entitled to those powers. So talking about calling it devolution, for me, gives a wrong impression. So there are many things we can talk about. Those things cannot be addressed by an exercise such as this. This exercise has turned out, in my view, to be a quadrennial ritual. Every 4 years we'll have it. And nothing gives me the confidence that we'll achieve a different result this time around from what we got in the last, in the previous 4 exercises. That is my fear. So we have major problems from policing, revenue sharing, basically the overall structure of governance, administration in the federal system. Just about everything that should be an integral part of the federal system is absent right now. And what we're doing amounts to basically nibbling at the problem. If you're hungry, you don't nibble at food. You eat with voracity. Okay. This exercise doesn't give me the confidence that we are actually addressing, or we are willing to address the issue in a holistic and wholehearted manner. If anybody is under any illusions, I think the statement put out yesterday by the Northern Elders Forum should dispel that. Both sides of the divide, so to say, digging in. They're digging in, and issues have been joined, as we say in law. So it's difficult for us to achieve a consensus. We need something more profound than this. We need to get to a point where we can have a real dialogue, some kind of meeting. We can convoke some real conference, as it were, to address the major problems that we have. I don't think that, I'm sorry to say this, but in a way too, I have no apologies for saying it. I don't think that we can achieve anything substantive, nothing momentous from this exercise. I'm sorry to say it.
So invariably, this exercise is just a waste of people's time, as always. I mean, and and hang on a minute, sir. I salute your courage for saying this. I salute your courage for coming on national TV as a lawmaker to say this, that you don't think nothing great is going to come out of this exercise. So it's just a waste of people's time. And that's why there are cases of voices being stifled. What do you say as regards that? People have been called thugs because they want to get their voices out there as regards, our constitution and our nation in general. So, what's your view on all of this? And you guys at the House of Rep will still go on your own process like this, and nothing is going to come out of it anyway, isn't it? And I salute your courage for saying this anyway.
It doesn't take courage to say this. It doesn't take courage because it stares us in the face. We all see what's going on. And we'll come unstuck, no doubt about that. We won't have the gumption to address, provisions leading to, for instance, Section 214, policing. We won't have the gumption to address, for instance, Section 162, dealing with revenue. We won't have section to take out item 39 on the exclusive list. I can go on and on. Okay, there are unstated no-go areas. Okay, yes, that is my view. That is my view. I've expressed what I'm saying now on TV. I've expressed it at various forums. Okay, both private and official in my capacity as a member of the House of Reps. So it's not new. It doesn't take courage. It's about identifying the problem and speaking to it the way you best know how to do. I'm of the view that we need to convoke a special meeting, conference, dialogue. People are called different names, and with the legislature standing in, to give it some sort of imprimatur, legal imprimatur. Okay, that can form the basis of an entirely new constitution. Some have said we can revert to 963 with necessary modifications here and there. That's fair enough. Okay, there are many things in this constitution that you don't know where to start from. A whole new constitution requires wholehearted and holistic reconstitution of everything. We can't get that from this exercise. This piecemeal approach, incremental, every now and then, it doesn't, for me, it's about time we faced the reality and then confronted our fears and dealt with the problems the way we best know how to do. The way we have to come to accept a position of dealing with it on the scale of what South Africa did after apartheid, yes, we have to do it something near that scale. Okay, something so comprehensive. I don't think that this exercise is wired to. This one is we're just tearing down the barrel. It's not wired to achieving anything near that. Like I said, what is going on stares us all in the face. So it's I won't go as far as to say it's a charade, but you can read between the lines. The reason why it's not far, why its outcome is not far to, its possible ineffectual outcome is not far to seek is because, like I said, it has turned out to be a ritual, a quadrennial ritual. This is the 5th one in a series. What momentous changes have the other ones, the 4 previous ones, brought? Okay, where we are now, for me, it looks like an unnecessary distraction. There are easy pickings that would have dealt with. Okay, one of which, for instance, the Electoral Act. I haven't begun to do anything about that up to now. We've done some things, and then we are stuck somewhere. Okay, so this one is like, people are, of course, there's a lot of agitation on the land. Agitations I blew back from, against, the over concentration of power, the centripetal nature of our federalism, so-called federalism. Okay, now this just looks like an opportunity for an elixir, an opportunity for people just to exhale, basically just express themselves, and then after all the exuberant noises, we'll come back to where we started. So it doesn't give me a lot of confidence. I'm sorry.
Okay, Honorable Bob, you are a member of the Joint Technical Committee of the House and the Senate on electoral matters, electoral reform. And since December 2020 or thereabouts, we have had, public hearings on the proposed Electoral Amendment Bill 2020. In January, your joint committee went on a retreat, and this is May. What is exactly happening about the amendment of the electoral bill, considering the fact that the Senate president, when he assumed office, he said it to be a priority? Are we going to have a repeat of the situation we had in 2018, whereby by the time the electoral law was amended, it was too close to the election, and the government of the day said, oh, it was too close, and there was nothing that could be done about it? Do you see an attempt, a political attempt, to do the same thing this time around?
Political attempt, yes. That is my unqualified view. I was, like you pointed out in your intro, a member of the Technical Committee, Joint House and Technical Committee. I know I know what went down there, and I am also not happy that after so much assurance was given publicly, there is now an obvious attempt to walk back, those assurances. I cannot explain what is the delay in considering the bill in both chambers is inexplicable. And so the extent of its inexplicability, because if there was a reason offered, I'll be able to say, okay, that's the reason offered. No reason has been offered. I have sought for answers, I haven't got any. So it leaves me with no choice but to conclude that the inexplicable reason for this delay is tied to
Honorable Bob?
the political interest.
I do beg your pardon. Pardon the interruption. We need to take a short commercial break. Please hold your thoughts. We'll be back for more with Honorable Solomon Bob. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. We're still with Honorable Solomon Bob. Honorable, before we went on the break, you were trying to round up that question. I'll give you the opportunity to do so, and then I'll ask you my question.
Thank you. Yes, I was saying that the delay is inexplicable, and to that extent, I can only surmise that there are political interests that are undermining the work that we did, both at the general and the technical committees. Speaking about the House of Reps specifically, I know that the House Committee Chairman attempted to lead the report for consideration by the House about 2 months back. Okay, but unaware of the goings on behind the scene, apparently, she was requested to take the report away. Okay, the report wasn't considered. So and then the same thing, the same sense I get about what's going on in the Senate. Okay, so my impression is that this government wants to conduct 2023 elections on 2019 terms, because the modest reforms we try to introduce in they are uncomfortable with the modest reforms we try to introduce in the in the bill we just considered. They are uncomfortable with those. Basically, let me just say that even the work we did there represents, as I said in a different forum elsewhere, a minimalist position, because it doesn't go far enough. Some of us wanted more drastic changes. For instance, on the question of result transmission, we wanted it stipulated in the law clearly, okay, that electronic transmission should be the only means by which results would be transmitted. But we got a serious fight on our hands, and at some point, the disagreement was so intense that it threatened to torpedo the whole exercise. But we came to a compromise position where we left that to the discretion of INEC. But even that, to some, is causing jitters. So I have no confidence that the delay we are seeing now with respect to the electoral bill is not orchestrated. It's not intentional. So that's what I'll say about that.
Oh, that is most alarming. You're painting quite a vivid picture here of deliberate undermining, thwarting, skirting around issues, diversion from the fundamental issues in the legislative process, either with the Electoral Act amendment or with the Constitution. But there's also an alarming trend that we're witnessing now with the House of Reps and the quality of debate, which is one of your other duties, to debate national issues. You tried to come under Order 6 recently and start to debate on the comments of the Attorney General of the Federation about open grazing, and were shut down. So now you have the floor. What were you going to say that you were not allowed to say in the Green Chamber? Go right ahead.
I don't know whether, it's a... Okay, I don't know whether it's appropriate for me to really litigate that issue here, but unfortunately, it has become a recurrent decimal. That sort of situation has become a recurrent decimal in this Ninth Assembly. Some of us have strong views, and those leadership know that. We don't often get time on the floor. And then when we manage to get a lot of strictures that put in place to ensure that we don't fully come out to express ourselves the way we would like. Yeah, basically, I was just saying that what the Attorney General statement was disingenuous and irresponsible, and that he amounted to kind of a dog whistle, if you like, for potential stigmatization and attack against those who deal in business of spare parts by comparing it, without basis at all to the business of cattle, cattle grazing. And I also tried to point out that, the section he was alluding to, which is Section 41, talked about freedom for human beings, not cattle. So basically, I tried to, just draw attention to the fact that the Attorney General was in the habit, of anytime there was a meaningful dialogue on the issue of national importance, he would throw the cat among the pigeons, cause confusion, make tendentious utterances that do not befit his office as Attorney General, that cast him as an ethnic or religious champion. For me, I wasn't happy with that, and I reserved the strongest words for him that on the floor. I couldn't get the opportunity. I was just building up my arguments when the Deputy Speaker, who by the way is a very genial fellow, sometimes we, on the floor there are things happen and things are heated up, but privately he's a nice person, so I couldn't get a chance to say that, but it's not. I don't think it's an opportunity. Though I've said a lot about it, but I don't think it's appropriate now to litigate the issue. I appreciate the point. Thank you.
Thank you, and you got a chance to say to the people that are listening, and that matter the most in the grand scheme of things, because really politics should be about the people, and they heard you this morning. Real quickly, you talked about people trying to divert the process. You talked about this diversionary, as it were, tactics, trying to tell us this is not the way to go, this is the way to go to be able to achieve some means. And the work you have done on the Electoral Reform Bill, nothing has been done. You think they are very strong hands, politicians, and they are playing politics as regards it. Can you tell me a little bit more? From what quarters is this coming?
Well, there's nothing more I can say to you, than what I've already stated. It's I don't think it's difficult to really, see through what's going on, So there's nothing more to add to what I've already said. The thing is, the leadership of both houses made very clear and exuberant public commitments. Electoral bill. They said over and over and over again. We were in Lagos in the first meeting we had was in Lagos in February 2020. They committed publicly to a new electoral act. I never had a full Christmas holiday. They roused us up because I was appointed to the technical committee to work on the bill. They roused us up by holidays early. We were quarter somewhere to consider the bill, the draft bill. We walked our socks off, came up with something, at least better than what we've had. We removed, for instance, the impediments, the deliberate impediments on, electronic voting. We removed that completely, and now vested, some measure of discretion to choose.
Well, thank you.
The means of voting and the transmission that best suits it. Okay, but like I said, obviously some of these modest changes are causing ripples somewhere else. So they don't want. I think that, and the time begins to run against us as we go along by reason of the ECOWAS protocol on good governance. Yes. 6 months to election, you can't make changes to electoral law.
That's what the protocol says. And we hope that the National Assembly will be mindful of that. Well, thank you very much, Solomon Bob, for joining us on the morning show. Thank you very much indeed.